Kupina kuphe makana madodana nasokoplastic khona sengilo lehlelo bekunene ke Yilungelo Lakho, it's your right lehlelo sinesela bukhonga lapha ku SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Mina ke ngiSimphiwe Ncongwane. Mbukele ke informal savings clubs, also known as Stokvels noma ke umgalelo, have been for decades a means of savings for so many communities, for so many associations and for so many interest groups, and financial security to many poor families. But now Stokvels have taken a modern twist and are now fast becoming the preferred means of investing. To find out how, let's asingene shita endzabeni yethu. Njengoba sengishito ke mbukele ke Stokfella ke indlela yekonga imali lelithemba lebathengi labaningi labangakwadi ke kuthola lusito tsite emabhange noma ke letinye tinhlelo ke tekuseva noma ke tekutfola ke lusito ke noma ke imali tsite emabhange. Sivakashele ke lenye yalama Stokfella lapha eMzansi asebenzisa ke tindlela tsite tamanje te technology yekuvikela imali. Alright, besithemba ukuthi ke sidaba nemibiko kepha nje asichubeke nenzaba namhla. Manje ukukhuluma kabanti ngenzaba yethu namhla asesimukele ke tinintethu namuhla sina Andrew Lukhele lo khulumele ke I Stokvels Association of South Africa. Siphinze sibe na Sifiso Nkosi lo phetse ke tindzaba tema Stokvels First National Bank FNB. Siphinze simukele ke na Tshepo Moloi lo mele ke inhlangano ye Stokfella. Gentlemen, a very good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you for having us, Simphiwe.
But Lukhele, I'm going to start with you. Share more ukuthi ke yini ke le Stokvels Association next ke yini umsebenzi wayo?
Yeah, I think for many years AMA Stokvels have been operating without the association. As you know, we have about 11 million individuals in South Africa.
Yeah.
About our member AMA Stokvels. We'll have 10 people, we have 20 people somewhere. Now the idea of having an association is in 1988. Because ngaleso sikhathi beyisikhathi apartheid. So ama Stokvels were seen by a government of the time as abantu bebenza something engekho emthethweni. So we started the association as a union actually, looking after my interest ama Stokvels which were under threat from apartheid. That's how the association came about.
So manje njoba nibuka ke ma interest ema association make Stokfella, is it the same model that you used back then ngesikhathi apartheid? What kind of interests are you focusing on now?
Look, I think historically, ama Stokvels were associated nabantu abadala.
Okay.
Abogogo, abomama, and all those things. So our situations are changing. We have a new government. People have new opportunities. Abanye babuyele Stokvel nabanye abasayi because of certain opportunities abazithola outside of Stokvel. So the new generation gain interest kuma Stokvels, and obviously bafuna ukwenza izinto ngendlela entsha, different from bomama baba nabogogo baba. So we welcome izinto ezintsha anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Sifiso, let me also bring you into this conversation. We've seen a rapid rise in Stokvels and the popularity of Stokvels lapha eMzansi. How far have banks gone in terms of making sure that all the Stokvels monies are in the banking system?
I think Lukhele touched on it ukuthi iStokfella kudala amabhange angazibheki sabona ke thina ukuthi kungcono ke nje ngeFNB sithathele lo thuba ukuthi sibone ukuthi imali ingena kanjani ku banking system. So as we speak siyazi ukuthi iningi zeStokfella ziya contributor kumabhange but kusane group eningi engacontribute. So masingayenza ama estimation mhlambe singathi u10% weStokfella ziyayibank imali yona lesibonayo. Kodwa kusana ama group amaningi lapho singayiboni kulapho ithuba libukhona.
Kulo 90% ke weStokfella ngicabanga ukuthi iyaphi le mali?
Ngesinye isikhathi imali yabolekisana so siyayiqokelela siphuba Lukhele namhlanje thatha uSifiso namhlanje thatha uTshepo ngakusasa. Kwenye sinye isikhathi iyahlala imali khona ngaphakathi endlini kunama safety deposit box abekhona. So siyazi ke ukuthi imali mayihlele kanjalo ayizuzi interest. Kusho ukuthi umuntu umebeka imali into ayitholayo njenge-reward yokubeka leyo mali iyona i-interest. Kungakho thina sibona ukuthi asingeneni kuma-community nemphakathi sibagqugquzelele abantu ukuthi mayibekwe le mali ukuze izokhula izokwazi nokubasebenzela.
But the argument is, I'm just going to use an example of a model that is applied by so many Stokvels and Stokvel groups. Ukuthi njengoba singifola si contributor imali tsite every month, and then we are bound ukuthi ke siboleke leyo mali leyo bese ke ibuya sene interest. So the argument is vele iyayidala interest even before going through the banking system.
Yes.
So bantu bathatha buta ukuthi ke why should they use the banking system instead of just keeping the money amongst themselves, because it generates interest anyway.
Yeah, very valid point ukuthi abantu bayabolekisana ngayo le mali. Siyazi ukuthi indlela okuyokuzuza interest. Kodwa into esibonile ukuthi uma iDokfella sesiqala ukufaka imali ebhange kuba nama opportunities ukuthi bathole amanye ama products angabasiza. So thina sesakwazi ke manje njenge Stokfella ukuthi sithenge umuzi ne-FNB. Lapho ke siyazi ukuthi lo muzi singawuqhashisa bese sithola leyo mali njenge rental income. So ukuze leyo mali ibonakale ukuthi le Stokfella yenza malini, ku-important ke ukuthi leyo mali ibonakale ngaphakathi kwe-account. So if sifuna ukuthi abantu bakithi bakwazi ukuthola i-access to lama products abazowadinga azobasiza nabo njenge-Stokfella, kungakho sibagqugquzelela ke ukuthi ayingahlali ngaphansi kompede le mali, ayingene ngaphakathi ngoba mase ibonakala kule banking system siyakwazi ukuvula amanye ama-opportunities namathuba.
Okay, fair point. Tshepo might also bring you into this conversation. Nina ke baqambi ke bena inhlangano bathe Stokfella or Stokvel app. Just tell us more about it.
Yeah, it's an app that provides transparent security for all Stokvels. I think what Lukhele touched on, Stokvel have been around since the 1980s. So Tina, what we've done is we've been able to evolve them, provide them with innovation that enables them to see all these transparency, all these challenges that they're facing. But more so, I like to touch on what my colleagues are talking about how do we connect them to the economy, basically. And that's where we master as Stokfella. So once the money is in the system, we're able to provide not only property, we're able to provide Stokvels with farm, we're able to provide Stokvels also with Uber opportunities. They can buy Ubers through the platform. We're able to provide them with other opportunities such as buying franchise stores. I mean, we did that during COVID, where Stokvels were able to buy franchise stores through our platform. Okay. So I think the most important thing that once you innovate and you become part of the system, opportunities go beyond the just typical savings or interest.
So you basically link banks with Stokvels or Stokvel groups?
We link Stokvels with opportunities that the bank can also fund. We link Stokvels with opportunities that people are out there. For example, an entrepreneur would say, I mean, I've got a business. Any business I'm short on funding because I've got a purchase order funding with the government.
Yes.
And therefore, the Stokvel could come in place and play that role that says, okay, make sure that the entrepreneur succeeds in their opportunity with the government, and then provide the feedback in terms of interest from that opportunity.
Make me understand, Tshepo. I'm still not getting it. Are you a platform that seeks to serve as a financier, or you're just a middleman between financier and Stokvel Group?
We are the middleman that makes everything work, basically.
Okay,
Yeah.
through technology.
So, through technology. We are the big brother that you want to have.
Yeah. So do you have like a relationship with banks? Because obviously for me to get a loan, I need to approach a bank, but through you, right?
Yeah, so we have relationship with some of the banks. Yeah, definitely. With two major banks. We also have relationships with our own selves.
Yeah.
We are an NCR created company, so we also can give you a loan as the Stokfella app itself. Okay.
No, I was about to ask whether you've been qualified or you're regulated by the NCR.
Yes,
Now, in terms of regulation, Lukhele, do you regulate some of your members under this association?
No, like I said, we started off as people who were fighting for Stokvels to have regulation on their side. That side has been taken care of. Now, the issue of regulation, we all know in South Africa that the regulator of all the financial institutions is the Reserve Bank. So initially, the Reserve Bank was fighting Stokvels because they perceived Stokvels as competitors of the banks, as people who are taking deposits from the community without the license to do so. So we had to fight that perception to show that Stokvels are not competitors of financial institutions, because at the end of their meetings, the treasurer will take the money to the bank. That is why these guys are interested. So how can you compete against the bank while you're taking money to them at the same time?
Well, I think the argument would be you are now playing in the space of deposit taking, isn't it?
No, that was the argument. But then stokvels had to be regulated differently. That is why we have different tiers of banking in this country. So stokvels are in that space where they just take deposits as groupings.
Okay.
Now the regulation comes when people's money must be taken care of. There should never be someone who take advantage of the poor people. So the legislation is limited mainly on ensuring that people don't lose the money that they want to make a success of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Sifiso Nkosi ke Baba Nkosi ke, I mean, Lukhele lapha uthi, you know, some of the stokvels. Okay, I'm just told that mic yakho lapha ngathi inenkinga. But let's now just take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. Kwanyalo ke mbukela sasibambe lapho sesikushelela ngasetitolo. Please do join us after this break. Leli Yilungelo Lakho. Sawumela futhi ngibukele ke futhi incingo tefe setivuliwe ukuthi nawe ungavakalisa umbono wakho ungashayela licingo khona manje ku 0117140669 noma ke 0117140670. The numbers are on your screens right now. Ungasithumela futhi ne-email ku consumer@sabc.co.za. Ungaphinde usifole futhi na ku Facebook. Namhlanje sikhuluma ngetitokfela nekuthi ke ingabe titokfela ningathi sita njani ukuthi netikhule noma ke nitikhulise letitokfela tenu. We've got a wide array of guests, especially in this particular field. Now, Sifiso, we heard before that break, Babe Lukhele lapha ukhuluma ngekuthi ke titokfela should be treated differently from traditional or normal saving mechanisms. So is it the same approach with banks? Would you treat it differently in terms of interest charges, no any other costs involved?
So we do treat stokvel differently. I think we know ukuthi umuntu angahamba afika deposit ebhangi kujwayele ukuthi mhlambe kube ne cost associated nayo. Kodwa ngoba stokvel kunamalunga amaningi siyaqiniseka ukuthi mo deposit imali ayikho imali okufanele ucharge yona. So khuluma ke ne-stokvel zethu sizibona incwadini yethu ukuthi uma kunemali ekolekiwe ayihambi yofakwa ATM at no cost. Uma sokunesikhathi ke ukuthi imali ibhadalo kuma members sazi ke ukuthi sine FNB app lapho ongakwazi ukungena khona ukhokhela ama member. Konke lokho sikenzela ukuthi sifuna i-savings culture se-South Africa ukuthi ikhuphuke. Ngeke sithi mawubeka imali izodla wena ephaketheni. Senzela sure ukuthi uma soyibeka le mali uzuza interest kuyona sazi-ke ukuthi wonke umuntu obeka imali ngesitokfela imali yakhe izokhula.
Okay, so as a banking system nisebenza kanjani vele netitokfela?
So umsebenzi owaqalwa uBaba Lukhele usize kakhulu ngoba njengoba shilo le ndlela isuka kude 1988. So into esiyenzayo manje inasasa iyasilekelela ukuthi kube ne constitution yona elekelela istokfela uma siqala ukuthi istokfela sethu sizosibiza ngegama liphi amaphi ama rules azoapply kuleso stokfela. So nathi njengamabhange uma sifika sizovula istokfela siyefuna leyo constitution ngoba iyona esitshela ukuthi ama rules we stokfela athini. Kuyeka afane lama rules njengoba sekakhulumile ubaba ayahluka. So into siyenzayo thina siyaqiniseka ukuthi wonke amalungu aleso stokfela ayawazi lama rules futhi bayazi ke ukuthi bavumelane njengani.
So sicala kanjani ke stokfela in a manner leletawuvikela kithi imali tethu?
Into baleke kakhulu ukuthi uma siqala istokfela the constitution fanele siyibeke njenge founding document yethu. Konke sikubhalayo esikuvumayo ngeke sithi sokudlula isikhathi sikushintshe. Uma sithi imali sizoyikhipha ekupheleni kweminyaka emithathu leyo mali kufanele iphume ekupheleni kweminyaka emithathu. So njalo siyakhuluma ne-stokvel ukuthi siyabagqizelela abantu ukuthi mabaqiniseke ukuthi i-constitution yabo ikhona bayakwazi ukuyi-downloada website-ini yenasasa. Okunye kubalekile ngempela ukuthi abantu bazi ukuthi leyo mali yongena kuphi. Lapho sithi angangeni ku-account yami noma yakho Simphiwe ayingeni ku-account ye-stokfela ngoba uma imali ingena ku-account ye-stokfela akekho umuntu omunye ongahamba yoyikhipha. Lokho kuyazike ke ukuthi leyo mali izoba safe mase siyibhekile leyo 3 years ukuthi sokufanele sokhipha imali yethu siyazike ukuthi izoba khona. Inkinga ivela uma mina ngithi cha ikhokheleni ku-account yami ngoba uma ngifika lo mbono omubi ukuthi ngizoyithatha leyo mali akekho umuntu ozobona nomuntu ozowazi ukuthi yenzakalani ngale mali.
Okay, so nisebenza nemuntu munye lentawati ukuthi ke nasefana kuyi-withdraw le mali itaya kumuntu munye?
Cha, so indlela sebenza ngayo thina kunama signatories kusho ukuthi abantu abakhethiwe istokfela ukuthi kube yibo abahambayo bayovula i-account ebhangi.
So you can only disperse the monies to them?
Cha,
And then
so
bona
laba
bathathu.
abathathu
Yeah.
ibona abavula i-account bese thina siyabafaka-ke ku-app yethu bakwazi ukumema lamanye amalungu kusho ukuthi masukuyisikhathi sokuthi bakhokhe laba abathathu bazaqala-ke bayenza ama-payment uma mina ngilode i-payment kuwena fanele lamanye ama-signatories amabili nawo aya-approve leyo payment ukuze izongena ku-account yakho ngaleyo ndlela siyazi-ke ukuthi akekho umuntu ozawulandelwa ebhange mhlawumbe kube nabantu abafuna ukuthatha leyo mali withdrawayo futhi kuyaqiniseka ukuthi masuba-invayithile abantu bakwazi ukubona ukuthi kuyenzakalani kuleyo account bazohlale bazi ngasonke isikhathi ukuthi imali ikhona futhi iphephile.
Okay, all right. Now, Tshepo, just take us through the sequence of processes between, I mean, from when we start opening a stokvel, using your platform to when we withdraw.
Yeah, so I mean, the sequence is quite straightforward. Just as Babsus has said that you should have a constitution. I think the nice thing when you come on our platform, we give you what we call a standard constitution that has been already vetted from a legal perspective, because we know not everyone is legally minded or can write great English, you know. So we make sure from a legal perspective, that constitution can stand even within the court of law. So you have a standard constitution in place, and based on our system, as you put in, we are contributing X amount per month.
So, in a constitution,
a standard constitution that we give to the stokvel.
Okay, so what then happens to the constitution as stokvel? Do you disregard it?
No, we don't disregard it. In fact, we allow them to still bring their constitution and we amalgamate it. So we combine those two constitutions so it becomes a more solid document for them.
What if there's
basically
conflicting clauses? Because, you know, some constitutions can be bizarre.
Yeah, because definitely some constitutions can be bizarre. This is why, from a legal perspective, we always have a legal attorney that would look such a constitution for the stokvel, because we know it comes with the cost. So these are some of the costs that we engage on in terms of to make sure that it comes with a lower cost for the stokvel. Okay. So we partner up with different service providers across all board, whether it's a service provider from a legality perspective, whether it's a service provider from an investment perspective, or whether it's a service provider from a normal service, providing you with the service accounting services. Because as much as you can have a treasurer, the treasurer might not be an accountant or financial tax expert, as an example. So they might need assistance in that as well. Okay. So there's a lot that goes in stokvels that sometimes that they themselves do not understand. We need to provide them with those services.
And then do all the members have access to the app, or is it just the signatories?
No, all members have access to the app because we do believe 100% transparency, as my brother said, Sifiso.
And then in terms of withdrawals then, since everybody has got access to the app, can everybody have access to withdrawals?
No, everyone can put their claim to a withdrawal to the executives of the stokvel, and each executive can approve, and therefore the money gets dispersed to whatever project that has been selected by the group.
Okay. Oh, wow, interesting stuff. Now, Sifiso, do you think this is the future of savings, or as a banking system, do you think that, you know, it needs a few loose ends need to be tied?
Yeah, I think the tech piece is an important one. Siyazi ukuthi ngenzeka mhlambe we live in different provinces, and what the technology allows us to do ukuthi we can have ama-signatories amathathu from different provinces basivula istokvel bakwazi uku-invite our members. So the barriers to saving are becoming lower and lower. I think the opportunities for the banking system is stokvel is not only for savings. There's a lending portion. Members need to lend, the stokvel needs to lend. So how do we open up the full banking system? Lapho-ke kuyabaluleka ukuthi sikwazi njenge-stokfella ukuthenga umuzi as an example, noma if sifuna ukuthenga ama-shares, noma ukuthenga ama-bonds, noma ukuthenga any investment vehicle ezosiza istokvel, uyithenga kanjani. So kuba important ukuthi singabuki nje ukuthi imali iyabekwa, but sivule the full system. There's entrepreneurs that are looking for funding, and njengoba besekhulumile uButshepo ukuthi there's that opportunity. So masingavula the entire banking system, ngiyakholwa ukuthi kulapho sobona khona the true value and the impact on the economy that groups can bring.
You know, what I'm picking up from Lukhele, I would say there's actually more into stokvels than just savings. You know, you can actually invest, you can buy shares and buy property. And especially when it comes to property, how do we go about doing that as a stokvel?
So we've got something FNB called group buying. It has been developed for groups, in particular stokvels. So mhlambe si-10 sifuna ukuthenga umuzi, siyakwazi ukuthi si-apply njenge-stokfella. Ngaleso sikhathi ma u-applya wonke umuntu uzoyenzwa nge-credit record ukubonisa ukuthi ngempela bayakwazi uku-afforda this property. And from that point on, that property is owned by the stokvel. Manje masowubheka an investment like that, it's over a long period of time. Kulapho khona ke sokungena insurance ukuthi uma kuyenzeka ukuthi khona ilunga elishonayo, fanele umndeni wabo ube ne-claim kule property so that if sidispersa ama-rental esiwathola kule property azafike ekhaya. So that's the importance and why we need to open up the entire banking system. Savings is a start, but there's a lending piece, there's an insurance piece, and there's a transacting piece. Ama-member maningi awanawo ama-account, so we need to make sure that we sort that out so that we can show the true value to the economy.
Great stuff, great stuff. But Lukhele, so in terms of making sure ukuthi emalunga enu Stokvels Association abide by the safety standards, the safety and security standards, as Sifiso has just said, do you enforce those regulations ukuthi ke no onke emalunga vele imali tabo labatfake emabhange noma ke bagcina pasemcamelo?
I think it's very important to understand ukuthi I understand kune issue yama constitution so that makune problem everybody must know ukuthi ubani umoshe i-clause ethize because ebhalwe phansi. The truth is, the majority of Stokvels don't have those constitutions.
Okay.
But it's not a sign of failure. Because they can have 5 rules that govern this Stokvel for 25 years. It's easy because these are members who are drawn from the same community. They go to the same church. They know each other very well. They know the relatives of the members. So the default rate on that basis is low. Natural. It has nothing to do with the paperwork and the constitution. However, we do advocate for introduction of constitutions because in the event of something going wrong, when you go to court, you must give proof that someone has done something wrong. So we can only do that if you quote law number 3. Okay. Which all of us share because it's in the constitution. So what makes a Stokvel work is trust and peer pressure. Those things I'm talking about in terms of knowing each other, knowing each other's families. When we default in a Stokvel and my members at home, my family members at home understand that I'm participating in something called Stokvel, it's a positive thing. So if something happens to me, they take over. Okay. And ensure that I'm up to date with my contributions.
Right.
So yes, we do need safety guards. If you can close the loops, trust alone is not enough, we know.
Right. Yeah. All right, let's take our first caller. Sinasiphio lapha eSoshanguve sakumele ehleleni sawubona.
Yebo njani?
Siyaphila unjani baba?
Ngiyaphila.
Khuluma nathi baba, what's on your mind?
Yebo nginombuzo lana according to rate interest lapho from bank ne. So the problem is some of them social members they don't trust with ama interest we are from a bank. How much more are enough than ukuthi like baba prefer ukuthi ba share imali around bona ukuthi bayenza ama interest because but kune nkulumo ukuthi ama interest bank amancane than lawa bayenzayo lana.
Okay.
So ingawo abaningi bayenzani babeka imali khona la emakhaya bayisharisha la ekhaya aba that much ukuthi bayise ebhenke like.
Yes. All right, Spiro Sabangakulu, thank you so much for making that point. I think it goes back to the same point that we made earlier on. Kutsike lamanye ke bantu noma ke letinye Stokfella ticabanga ukuthi ke iba ngcono le interest lebatendele yona ngekubolekisana amongst themselves than the interest asebhange.
Yep. Amalunga amaningi bayikhuluma into ekhulunywa yikhola yethu ukuthi mhlawumbe interest ayiphakamanga kakhulu ebhangi. Thina i-South African Reserve Bank ne-National Credit Act yasho ukuthi imali engakanani esingayicharge ku-interest. So siyazi-ke ukuthi uma ubeka imali engaka uzothola i-interest engaka. Into siyazi-ke nge-Stokvel ukuthi uma siboleka wena Simphiwe singakucharge u-30% we-interest. Whereas thina siyazi ukuthi i-governance ayisivumile ukuthi sifike lapho. So into esithanda ukuyisho ukuthi uma le mali ibekiwe ehlele ebhangi izuza i-interest, ama-members ayakwazi ukuthatha i-portion bayibolekisane ngayo baphinde bayibuyisele. Iyakhula ke leyo mali nale interest eyizuzayo bese nayo iyakhuphuka.
Right. Okay, Tshepo, I'd love to engage you in a moment, but let's now take a quick break. Mbugele, let's take another commercial break. We'll be right back. Yilungelo Lakho. Hallelujah. Welcome back, everybody. 0117140669, nomage 0117140670. These are participation lines. They're on your screens right now, so please make sure that you take up the phone and call us. Shale khona manje uvakalisa umbono wakho. Ungabuta futhi nembuto. Ungasithumela futhi ne-email ku-consumer@sabc.co.za or catch us on our social media platforms. Namhlanje sikhuluma ngeTokfella and the successes as a result of ama Stokvels. Next, how do you keep or safeguard ama Stokvels ukuthi ke nihlale niphephile netimali tenu tihlale tiphephile? Now Tshepo, I want us to talk about some of the success stories that you've had from Stokvel members or Stokvel groups using your platform.
Yeah, so I mean, there's wonderful stories that we can touch on. I'll touch on maybe 3 of them. I think first of all, when you have a Stokvel in Cape Town and Stokvel in Joburg, they don't talk to one another. They don't even know one another. What the platform does very beautifully is that it combines these Stokvel for them to start sharing knowledge, all right? Because we know that knowledge is power. So that's the first success stories, that we see other Stokvels wanting to join other Stokvels that are more powerful or that have the ideas and knowledge to do bigger, better things. Because not all of us are entrepreneurs or not all of us are great executives, so therefore we leverage of one Stokvel or another. The second story is we have Stokvels that are 1,000 or 2,000 members, and one of them is called the People's Fund. What it does is that it finds entrepreneurs that need purchase order funding. And in doing that, it funds them and it gets a return from those entrepreneurs. And in return, those entrepreneurs plow back that money into the Stokvel. So it just keeps on growing and growing. And the last story, perhaps, is one of my favorite stories, is the franchise Stokvel. That during COVID, when everything was closed down, through the platform, more than 3 million rand was put together by people that are individual around the country to say, let's buy franchise store. 2 franchise stores were bought. Sadly, one was looted during the unrest, but the Stokvel, because it had insurance, as my brother said, it's great for insurance, it was able to rebuild that store and the members continue to get their returns. So some great things when you start combining these different Stokvels from different parts of the country and people that perhaps don't know each other now know each other through a trusting platform.
Okay. No, just like Sifiso had said earlier on, that Stokvels can be used as a medium to generate wealth for Stokvel members. Can the same apply, especially if members use your platform?
Yes, definitely. So, I mean,
what are some of the investment mechanisms?
Yeah, so the biggest investment mechanism that we see is property, because people love to touch, taste, and feel.
Oh, yes.
So you can definitely go and view your property. You can definitely see the property. The second biggest one that we've seen on our platform is farming. So people definitely like to say, let's put farm together, as we know that, you eat, farm to fork, you eat something. And I think the greatest opportunity is how do you create jobs within the community, right? So, and the best way to create jobs is to invest in your own community. So I like to say to most people is that sometimes, it's as simple as you as a Stokvel, you have your 2 fishes and your 5 loaves. So what does that mean? Is that the little that you have can create more from that perspective. So it means that if you know someone in the community that doesn't have a job, how you and your Stokvel find that creativity in them. For example, maybe buying them an Uber car for them to now start becoming Uber drivers, or even a motorbike, because a motorbike is only about 30,000 rand, and them start delivering things from and to in your community. So that's the kind of opportunities that we look for as Stokfella.
Okay, all right. Let's take our next caller. Sina Lady Sulapha isentini sakumole ehleleni sawubona.
Yebo baba.
Saphela kunjani mama?
Siyaphila njani?
Khuluma nathi mama. What's on your mind?
Yizo labo abathi imali yase uma sibeke ebhenke ne? Ezinye kundlula thina sibekayo ezindlini.
Come again?
Yebo baba.
Asikakuva baba, sicela uphindze lelo point lakho.
Ngisho ukuthi labo baba bathi imali uma ihleli ebhenke yine interest eningi.
Okay.
Thina esibekayo endlini asitholi lutho.
Anitholi lutho uma nibeke ebank.
Uma sibeka ezindlini zethu ayina interest eningi.
Oh, so nithi kungcono naninisa ebank.
No, thina singcono uma sihlala nayo ezindlini, uma umuntu abuya ngaphandle azoboleka i300 i1000 libuya ne300.
Okay, so kungcono vele ukuthi nihlale nayo nibolekisane nina kunekuthiwa imixe ebank.
So uma si10 sibolekisa ama1000 rand ayi10. Uyabona ukuthi ama300 ayi10 ngenyanga. Ebhenki yalingana leyo mali. Interest yakhona.
Okay. Okay. No, ukhona ke wasebank utakuchazela kabanti ke. Sabonga kakhulu ukusishayela sisi.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And I suppose you're going to have a tough time trying to defend the whole process of taking Stokvel money to the bank when Stokvel people actually generate more interest.
Yeah. I think we've spoken about it. Yeah. Stokfella akukhola nje ubeka khona imali. There's a whole continuum la ye banking. Kune lending, uyakwazi ukubeka imali, kuningi okwenzakalayo. Iphuzu mama lenza ukuthi ubona yena ukuthi uma bahlala nayo le mali bazozuza interest eningi. Mawuqhathanisa nokuthi le mali lena ihlale ebhangi. Baningi abantu abazizwa kanjalo ukuthi cha singanqabe sihlale nayo le mali. Thina into sithanda ukuyikhuluma ngayo ukuthi mawubona isikhathi samanje sikhuluma ngeinflation nokuthi standard of living siyakhuphuka. Uma le 1000 singalibolekisi phele unyaka sesino 12000 suthola unjalo lo 12000 kodwa sazi ukuthi 12000 into bengasithengela yona ngoJanuary ayifani njengoDecember. Kungakho ke masikhuluma sithi ngasokho isikhathi akukho imali okufanele ihlale ngazuza interest ngoba lapho uyazi ukuthi noma ungasebenzi wena imali yakhe yakusebenzela. So these are the types of things we're trying to do and going to communities siengage kuze sibe na understanding efana ukuthi opportunity ikuphi engasiza ama groups wethu and it's only through engagement neDokfella zonke nama communities lapho sizokwazi ukubonana khona and cater to the needs that are there.
So interest iyange inflation noma nje le interest yenu nje standard.
So Lukhele ukhulumela ukuthi i-Reserve Bank yona esiganishayo thina as financial institutions. So siyazi ke ukuthi banokuhlangana i-monetary committee yakhona i-decide ukuthi i-interest izobithini for i-repo. So wonke lama products ahlangane ne-repo. Into emnandi ke since iqala i-COVID ngo-2020 i-interest iloku yakhuphuka. Lokho kusho ukuthi zonke iDokfella ezibeka imali nazo ziyakwazi ke ukuthi interest ezizuzayo ikhuphuke. So interest rate yethu i-linked ukuthi i-repo yenza kanjani. Makukhuphuka i-repo nayo iyakhuphuka, mayincipha i-repo nayo iyancipha. So kule minyaka edlulile sibonile incwadi yeStokvel ikhule kakhulu and lapho ngiyabona ke ukuthi nama groups ayabona ukuthi cha le interest ezuzwayo ingasebenza kakhulu futhi izosiza nokubalansisa inflation.
And having said that, asisikhulume ngama trends ke ma Stokvel ukuthi ke ezilibhange nibone an increase or a decline in Stokvel deposits.
So we saw an increase during the months of the years of COVID, which is quite interesting. Masibuka kwa business, ama business ayathatha i-dip ethize, thina incwadi yaqhubeka yakhula. Masizibuza ukuthi kenzeka kanjani lokho. Usho Lukhele ukuthi mawuyimember yeStokvel uyaziqhenya futhi uyazi ukuthi abantu ngisebenza nabo, abantu basekhaya noma abantu basesontweni ngizobabona. So baqhubeka ke babeka imali amalungu eStokfella. Into sabona ke ukuthi amanye amalungu walahlekelwa umsebenzi sona le Stokfella ba contribute kuso sakwazi ukukhipha imali ukuze basize ekhaya. So I think when you look at the trends so kuyabonakala ke manje ukuthi the role of digital into zokwazi ukuthi sikwazi ukukhokha singayanga ebhange iba important because njengoba isikhathi se-COVID bokuno level 5 singakwazi ukuphuma. So bokubalekile ukuthi imali mayiphuma ingene ku-account ye-member. Into esibonayo Lukhele ushilo na ukuthi ingane zifunde ngokuseva zibona ogogo mama o-aunty omalume beseva. Sesibona abantu intsha iseva kakhulu ngeDokfella. Abaningi bazo bayatravel. I think isayazi short left esibonisa i-country yethu iningizimu Afrika. So abantu babeka imali ukuthi makufike iphasika bahambe bayobona i-province ehlukile noma kufike uDecember babone. And then I think the last trend is around investment Stokvels. So ukhulumile uTshepo ukuthi properties you can see it, you can touch it. Siyazi ukuthi nomuntu ohleli ngaphakathi. Abantu bathenga ama-shares ngoba uma kunenkampani oyaziyo ukuthi uyayixhasa wena, uyazi ukuthi mangithenga ama-shares la kufana nokuthi ngiyazikhokhela ngoba leyo company izokhipha i-interest. So siyabona ke lapho ukuthi yiwona ama-trends ajwayelekile manje siwabona.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, let's leave it there for now. We'll continue our discussion in a moment. For now, let's take another break. Hlala ke nathi ungasanyakadi leli lungelo lakho. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. Our participation lines are still open. You can call us right now on 011-714-0669 or 011-714-0670 to take part. You can also email your thoughts to consumer@sabc.co.za, or you can even like our Facebook page or post your comments or questions there. Let's take our next caller. Now, Evelyn Ulapake Eval. Sagomori, Ehloleni sawubona?
Abona po.
Kunjani mama?
Nkonjani baba?
Siyaphila. Khuluma nathi mama.
Thina e-society sikhipha i-250 every month. No, si-8. Masi 8 baphuma imali esibekayo every month. 1,000 rand. Ne, sibeka si-investile le 1,000 rand. Sikhipha nje after 2 years. Sikhiphe sifake kule account le enye futhi. Manje ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi kule mali le esi-investor le engeke sikhona ukuthenga ama-shares now.
So ni investor kuphi le mali? Niyibeka kuphi? Nibeka phasi embedze noma nimithe ebhanki?
Bank.
Oh, e-bank, okay.
Bank.
Okay, all right. Evelyn, thank you so much for your time. And I would love the both of you to respond to that. Tshepo?
Yeah, I think what Mama Evelyn is touching on is even though they contributed 1,000 rand to the bank, and over a period of 12 months, it's 12,000 rand, is the opportunity for them to invest in things they can afford. What are the barriers of that? And I think Sifiso touched on it. There's unit trust, for example, which give you a great barrier. Or you can say, look, we want to buy a cow, as an example. So, I mean, a cow these days can cost anything from 8,000 to 12,000 or 15,000, depending on the cow itself. So when you buy a cow, we know that the cow, it could give you birth and birth more cows, basically, and therefore get bigger interest from that perspective. So I think it's important for the Stokvel to first look at how much they have and what opportunities are within what they have. I think the beauty about Stokfella is that even though as little as you have, by connecting you to other Stokvels, you guys can be bigger together.
True. Sifiso?
I think Mama Evelyn raises a very important point. What they're already doing ukuthi khona imali abayibekayo bese khona enye abayinvestayo kuyabonisa ukuthi i-financial knowledge ikhona badinga nje thina as amabhange singene kuma-communities sikwazi ukubabonisa ukuthi le mali ingene ngakuphi. So mina actually umama kuyangikhuthaza ukuthi le mali le ehleli yazuza i-interest le enye afuna ukuyi-investa angakwazi ukuthenga ama-shares kwa-FNB no-FNB share 0 lapho uthenga khona ama-shares at no cost. So angadecide ukuthi eyiphi inkampani yabona ukuthi isazokhula mhlawumbe kulo lowo nyaka akwazi uku-investa kuyo. So siyajabula masizwa ama-examples afana nalawa ngoba siyakwazi-ke ukuthi sibe nethuba sihambe ne-financial advisor ihlale nabo abomama Evelyn babone ukuthi yini abangayenza ukuze bakhulise imali yabo.
So ikhona i-limit kumele ukuthi ba-contribute every month ukuze ukuthi-ke bathenge ama-shares or any other investment instruments?
So i-Stokvel account sethu from the very first rand uzuza i-interest, which I think is a good story. Bazi ukuthi ayikho imali encane noma enkulu as long as kunemali ekhona, i-interest ikhona. Bese masothenga ama-shares uyakwazi-ke ukuthi ube ne-minimum of 300 rand. So sebashilo umama ukuthi ba-collecta 1,000 kodwa ikhona enye abangayibeka i-minimum ukuthi bathenga ama-shares nama-unit trust kuyoba 300 rand per month.
Okay. Lukhele mhlandwe Yilungelo. Kunana kulekuthiwa-ke WhatsApp Stokvels. Ukuthi-ke niyakusupporta ngoba nami I was once a member of one WhatsApp Stokvel and bangishaya ngahamba kancane. And I know ukuthi the members of that particular Stokvel are watching right now.
Yeah, I think we can't talk about the WhatsApp Stokvel without talking about technology. Let's accept ukuthi in today's life and experiences, abantu mele ba-interact ne-technology ukuze bathuthuke. So we welcome our initiatives as nabo Tshepo and other people. However, in the process, yokuthengisa lama technological platforms, kuba khona abantu abathatha i-advantage yabantu abangazi lutho. So ngikhuluma mina nge-trust, ngakhuluma nge-peer pressure, ngikhuluma nge-regular meetings abantu bama-Stokvels ababa nawo okwenza ukuthi i-interface yabo ibe visible. It's a safeguard, a natural. Now, in the absence of those things, umuntu ohlala eBrazil angaba imember ye-Stokfella sakhe njengoba wona wadliwa out ase-Brazil.
Probably.
Because imember yakho ongayazi. So it will take time for people to develop a trust and a knowledge of what can the technology deliver. I think the people who are going to benefit from interface nama Stokvels are those people who appreciate much as ama Stokvels are informal, they look clumsy sometimes, but they do the effective. Lento abafuna ukuyenza bayayenza. So there's no the informal. Masingazi mixa ne formal sector and do what we do best, and let the formal sector do what they do best. See meet somewhere. I think there will be a mutual benefit for both parties. Because there's a narrative, a pushwire in today's days. Ukuthi success of Stokfella today must be measured in terms of assets and financial statements.
Sure.
It's wrong. If you have million people, more than million people out there, about member Stokvels, some of them buy Niganama 50 Rand every Friday. So if you say, let's choose the best Stokvel, win an award, chances are that you'll be tempted. You'll go for the Stokvel, laba patala kona ama million per member.
Yeah.
And we're leaving people abasizanayo who have daily struggles. South Africa is the most unequal society to an extent that people need self-help. So lento ezincane lezi esicabanga ukuthi zi-useless zenza abantwana balale badlile. So it's very important that singazami ukuphusha i-narrative yokuthi i-success ye-Stokvel today ilama million lawa. I think that's the point I want to drive.
Okay. Now, Tshepo, umvile ke Lukhele lapha ukhuluma ngokuthi some of the Stokvels are clumsy. So where do you come in terms of making sure that everything is done in an orderly manner?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say Stokvels are clumsy. I think I concur with Tate Lukhele that actually it's just because informal we assume it's clumsy.
Yes.
It's, I mean, for my sake, as an example, I got his Stokvels SA. It took me to school. So you can't call that clumsy. You have to acknowledge that they play a very important role in society. I think where we come in is to say, once you have fixed this inverted commas clumsy, you've packaged it in a way that the formal community can engage with. That's where we come in and we plug those two together, which is that Lukhele was talking to, that how do we plug formal and informal? That is our business and our job as Stokfella, basically. Let's take the greatest example that we all know, we are aware of, load shedding, right? And we all know during the budget speech, now the minister said, look, we can have solar panels and there's a discount of it, of 15,000 Rand. Now imagine if you were to put solar panels in communities, like for example, Soweto on rooftops.
Right.
What impact would that have? How many Stokvels are in Soweto, as an example? Now, combining all those Stokvels, it could solve one of the major problems for Soweto itself only, as an example. So there's many things we can do once we have the right technology, the right trust in place, the right people, the right formal structure, and that's the role that we play as Stokvel.
Okay, and I suppose then this assumption is driven by the fact that there's admin failures on the part of Stokvels groups. There's no paperwork. So do you also come in there in terms of paperless transactions? Yeah,
so definitely we come in there. You can deposit in any retail store your cash, for example, through our platform, not only at a specific ATM. So you can walk into any retail and deposit. But I think mostly important in terms of the clumsiness, yes, the data is there. We help you collect the data. It's there when it's wanted during a court. It's there when it's wanted when you need to invest or when the regulator walks through the door. So everything that you would want from a compliance, the click of a button, it's there from a Stokfella perspective.
Okay, great stuff. Let's now leave it there. When you're please do stay with us. Yilungelo Lakho, don't you move a muscle. Welcome back, everybody. Sagomugela futhi ke siyachubeka futhi nenzaba yethu yethi Stokfella namhla ke, and unfortunately sesike sigwinya isikhathi. Kepha nje just before we wrap the show, I wanted to talk about redress. Kuthi ke nangabe khona ke nangabe laba labashayelwa esakeni bashayelwa ngilamanye emalunga abo eStokfella. Kuthi ke baya kuphi? Do they approach you or do they approach a lawyer or get the services of a lawyer?
No, I think our members, our Stokvels, are South African citizens like everybody else. Bane right. Yokuthi mabafuna usizo oluzoba effective ukusolve ama problems wabo baye abantu bomthetho like amaphoyisa bavula case against the person.
So ninekude lelingakwenda?
I'm an individual and I was not there when the Stokvel was formed, and ngizojudicator on a matter engayazi.
But the Stokvel is part of this association.
Yeah, but you're not a legal entity in the sense of which is court.
Okay.
You're not a court. I think the people who can preside over any criminality. Criminality, mothatha imali yabantu estokfeleni. It's a crime. So stokvel members ban a recourse in a form of going to the legal fraternity and to take a process forward. That is why I said, mabane constitution, kuba easier to say all of us abide by this constitution. Member number 6, akadlalanga irole yakhe as stipulated by constitution.
You know, but Lukhele, the expectation is that if I join a particular association and I pay fees or monthly levies or whatever you call it, then kuba ne service whatever is it that I'm aggrieved with, then association will help me, even if it has to do with getting legal services.
We don't take money from members.
Or anbapatalis?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're promoting self-help.
Okay.
Since the environment is conducive for them to help themselves.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So, ungaba advise nje ukuthi baye emaphoyiseni.
I think that's the only thing, because asinawo amaphoyisa.
Yeah.
Masingaba nenye army sifana ukuthi nesivigilante group. Sesiphathe imvubu sishaya abantu etrantini.
Right.
It can't happen.
Okay, Sifiso, just briefly, how do you ensure ukuthi ke ema Stokvels aba part of the formal banking system? Noma ke basita kanjani?
Okufanele kenzeke manje is thina as amabhange we have to play a more prominent role singene kuma communities sihlangane ne Stokfella ukuze sibalekelele. I think we've heard good examples of entrepreneurs that are coming together, and we just need to make sure ukuthi siyayivula le banking system ikwazi ukuthi from a savings perspective kube ne value efika kuma member, from a lending perspective, insurance perspective. I think masenza kanjalo siyazika ukuthi wonke ama members okwazi ukubenefita, and leyo benefits yona ekhulisa economy yethu.
Right. Tshepo, sithola kanjani ngale app?
Yeah, you can download our app at iStore or any Google Play, or you can go to our website, www.stokfella.com, STOKFELLA. That's where you get our app.
All right, gentlemen, we can't thank you enough, but thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mbukeli, sifika kanjalo ke maphethelweni ehlelo namhla. Let me thank our studio guests for their time this afternoon. Ngithanda ukubonga kanye nani ke ngeke kuba nathi kuze kube manje. Do join us again next week for yet another consumer discussion. Sithi ke do have a great week ahead. Nisale kahle.